Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 970th Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I've put onto YouTube. Just to say, we're going to do something unusual for this battle, and that is we're going to concentrate on how to assault a hill on Rome Total War. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to introduce the teams first, and then we're going to really look at how to assault a hill on Rome Total War. And my advice to you is, really, that is the last resort to attack a hill on Rome Total War, but we'll look at that in a couple of minutes. Okay, so our first teammate is someone who's called himself Chinny Poo, but is in fact Scorpion King SR. Now he's got 9 infantry, 5 velets, which are light infantry, and 6 cavalry. Okay, so I would suggest this is an unusual army. This is a no archer battle, by the way, so no archers in this battle. There you are, and he's got his velets there. They throw those little spears that they've got there. They're not that effective, but I see that he's actually got 5 of them there. I presume he'll use them as kind of like pilot shield units, is what I'm thinking. And there's his heavy infantry there, his urban cohorts there. Quick look at the upgrades on his cavalry, probably 7 upgrades. An experienced stripe, gold shield, gold attack there. So as I say, remember, it's a no archer battle. And as I say, he's got 5 light infantry there, which I'm pretty sure he'll use as possible pilot shield units. Our next teammate is Brotherhood member Sultan Adnan. Now he's got 12 chosen axemen, 3 berserkers, and 5 cavalry. Quick look at the axemen there. 8 upgrades, can you see that? 2 experienced stripes, gold shield, gold attack. Remember, these guys have got excellent morale like urban cohorts, and they carry those effective against armor axes that can cut wide swathes through heavily armored troops like Roman infantry, and they can be extremely effective. And as I say, he's got 12 of them, so that is pretty good. Solid army there. And then he's got his 3 berserkers. Now remember, these guys got 2 hit points, excellent specifications, and a big fear factor, taking morale away from enemy troops, destabilizing them and making them more susceptible to routing. And these are arguably the most powerful units in the game. That's why we only allow 3 in our games, because as I say, arguably they are the most powerful units in the game. But if they're used in coordination with their allies and with the rest of the Germanic army, they can still be battle winning troops. And he's got his cavalry there. I'm thinking probably just gold shield, gold. Yeah, there you are. You can see he just got gold shield, gold attack on his cavalry there. Remember the Gothic cavalry. Check the upgrade, the specifications of them. You'd be surprised on how good they are. So that's Sultan's Germanic army. Our next teammate is Brotherhood member Mantu. Now Mantu has got 14 infantry and 6 cavalry. Okay, he got 14 infantry and 6 cavalry, and if I remember correctly, he's got 3 eagle units. Oh my gosh, he got 3 eagle units there. Just think of the morale boosting, those morale boosting units there. 3 additional morale boosting units. Okay, now the reason he's done that is because he's got a cavalry general. Okay, so his cavalry general can run around the battlefield with the rest of his cavalry, and the general will be given general morale bonus to his cavalry as he runs around the battlefield. Okay, but he knows that he's got 3 eagle units there, which will be giving morale to his infantry when they're fighting. So that's why he's bought those 3 eagle units there. So that's a pretty good thought out army there. And as I say, for this particular battle, we need really good solid army builds here, and that is one of those with all that morale. And our last teammate is myself, Spartan Commander, who has bought a very old Roman army of 15 infantry and 5 cavalry. Okay, 15 infantry and 5 cavalry. So there's our team. And as I say, in this battle, we're going to really concentrate on looking at how to assault a hill on Rome Total War, which I hope you'll find quite interesting. And here is the other team. We have an RTW player who's called Gladdenmy. Now he's got 10 infantry, 4 archers, 5 cavalry. I say, to my knowledge, I don't think he's been in any of our battles before, so I don't know how good a player he is or anything like that. I guess we'll see. But I've noticed here that his infantry have got 7 upgrades on, an experienced stripe, gold shield, gold attack. So he's got some pretty solid infantry there. You can see the 7 upgrades, experienced stripe, veteran stripe, gold shield, gold attack. And I think if I remember correctly, his his cavalry have got 8 upgrades on, 2 experienced stripes, gold shield, gold attack. So he's got a lot of good upgrades on his troops there. And there he's got a Triarii unit here. This is Rome's anti-cavalry unit. But I've seen these guys fully upgraded get hit head-on by enemy cavalry, and they just rout on impact. So they must have a very, very small anti-cavalry bonus, and that's why you don't see that unit on the 31k battlefield. As I say, it is a no archer game here, but Gladdenmy missed the rules, and he's bought 4 archers there. Okay, their next teammate is Brotherhood member Royer. There they are. You can see Brotherhood member Royer. Now he's got 19 chosen swordsmen. Yes, 19 chosen swordsmen and 1 druid unit. And there's the druid unit there. Always a good idea to bring a morale boosting unit like a druid unit there, because obviously a lot of barbarian troops, morale's not very good, so to bring that additional morale boosting unit is a good tactical move. And there's his chosen swordsman. As I say, 19 chosen swordsmen there. Okay, if you notice, no cavalry. Okay, so he's concentrated his money on his infantry. To be honest with you, the Gaulish cavalry is not that great anyway, so that's why, and he knows that, and that's why he's bought that all infantry army basically. But look how steep that hill is. Anyway, we'll be having a look at the hill a bit later on. Okay, their next teammate is RTW player Barclayman. Now Barclayman's got 14 pikes, 4 chariots, and an armoured cavalry general. Okay, so this is one of Barclayman's faction of choices here. Okay, and there you are. You can see he's got 8 upgrades on, 2 experienced stripes, gold shield, gold attack on his Pontus pikes. And just look at the length of those pikes that our men have got to fight down to kill the man on the other end. So that's a pretty tried and tested army there. And there's the armoured cavalry general. You don't see that very often with the Pontus armoured cavalry general. It's usually a pike general, so that's unusual to see. And there we are, we've got the chariots, and as we've talked about before, big attacking specifications, 2 hit points. They bring a massive fear factor as well. But of course, if they run amok, they start killing friend and foe alike. And I always say to people, if you don't feel confident or competent at bringing chariots, then you really need to think about whether you want to bring them or not, because they really are a double-edged sword. And as I say, if they start chopping down your allies' troops, you will become unpopular very quickly. So I always say to people, chariots are really double-edged sword, and you need to be confident and competent before you think about bringing them, really. So that's that Pontus army of Barclayman's. Their next teammate is a GoTW Beatch. Now he's got 9 heavy infantry, 6 cavalry, and 4 light infantry. Okay, I would suggest an unusual army build here. It'd be interesting to have a look at, I think. If you notice here, you'll see he's got light infantry there. Can you see? There, he's got the velots there. Okay, they throw those little spears there. Okay, you can see them. And also, he's got the velots, and he has got, if I remember correctly, yeah, he's got that other light infantry there, a light auxiliary. They can throw pilers or those little spears as well. There, so he's got 4 light infantry, and as I say, I'm guessing he's going to use those as his pilot shield units in this battle. And there you are, he's got his 9 heavy infantry of urban cohorts, and if I remember correct, yes, there you go, fully upgraded cavalry. That's 3 experienced stripes, gold shield, gold attack. Takes them out of the elite bracket into the super cavalry bracket. And those of you that like statistics might like to know, fully upgraded Praetorian cavalry cost 2,700 denarii each. So for those 6 units there, has cost him altogether, get ready for this, 16,200 denarii. So he spent more than half his money on those cavalry. So obviously he's going to depend on those cavalry to possibly win the battle for him. So it'll be interesting to see how he uses that cavalry during the course of the battle. So there's the enemy team on top of this massive hill. And as I say, we're going to concentrate on assaulting a hill on RTW. Okay, at this stage of the battle, as I said earlier, we're going to look at assaulting a hill on Rome Total War. And what I would say to you to start off with is attacking a hill on Rome Total War should be your last resort. And the reason I say that to you is because the bonuses that the team on top of that hill has got is very, very important there. Really what our team could do on this particular map is we could form up down here and say to them, we're not going to attack you uphill there, and try and get them to come down the hill a little bit to, to try and neutralize the ground a little bit there. Okay, that's something that we could do. But those generals aren't going to do that. So let's have a look at possible attack routes. Okay, so over here on the right flank here, if we tried to attack on the right flank, look how sheer the hill is there. It's so sheer, it looks like your troops could literally fall off the edge, doesn't it? It is so sheer there. So if we try attacking on the right flank there, that would be a no-go area, I think, because also if they decided while we were assaulting the hill to do a downhill charge on us, all the bonuses they'll get from the downhill charge, especially the cavalry and infantry, they could literally wipe us off the map there with that with the downhill bonuses they would get. So let's have a look at the other flank. Let's just see if that's maybe more of an easier option. Well, there you are. There's the other flank. Look how steep that is as well. Okay, another steep flank, and of course, like I say, it's open territory there as well. So while you're attacking up this way, if their cavalry and infantry decide to attack you as you're assaulting the hill, then the downhill bonuses that they'll get, the downhill charge bonuses they will get, especially their cavalry, would just kind of almost wipe your infantry out with the bonuses that they've got. So for me, the only assault route is up through the woods here. Now, there's a reason why I would go up through the woods. Okay, there you can see how steep it is. There you can still see that it's extremely steep going up through the woods here, but this is the route that I would suggest on this particular map. Now, can you think why I would suggest come up through the woods? Okay, well, to start off with, pilers and missiles that they would be throwing at us, the trees would block a lot of those. Okay, so pilers and spears and arrows there, I'm guessing that those trees would block a lot of those missiles hitting us. Okay, that's what I think. Also, if they try a downhill charge on us, and of course their units are going to run into these trees, okay, and those trees will then basically cause their charge bonus to be neutralized. Basically, I mean, if they try a downhill charge, as I say, their units would hit the trees there, run into the trees, and their momentum and their downhill bonuses there, I think, would be quite neutralized there in the woods. So this is the best route on this particular map to attack the hill, up through the woods. Okay, so that's something we'll be looking at. And you can see here how the enemy there, and remember on top of the hill here, enemy pilers will go further and do more damage, and if they had archers here, their arrows would go further and do more damage as well. Okay, so as I say, lots of bonuses for the team on top of the hill. Okay, and as I say, I think from our point of view, coming up through the woods is the best point of attack there. Okay, that's what I'm thinking there. And it'd be interesting to see how they actually set up on top of the hill there. Okay, now if you notice here at the moment, I'm set back here, and you can see Mantu is moving his troops forward there, and you'll see that Sultan is bringing his Germanic army over to us as well here. Okay, just pause the game for a second. Now over here you'll see that Scorpion King has set his army up right at the back of his setup area there. Now the reason he's done that, okay, so you can see how far back he's set up here, is so that he doesn't get intercepted by the enemy troops opposite him. And you can see setting all the way back up here, he's not going to be intercepted, and he'll be able to move his troops, infantry and cavalry, up to his allies there. And it'll be interesting to see if Gladdenmy with his SBQR troops decide to go the same way there and form up with his allies up on top of the hill. Okay, but as I say, you can see Scorpion King moving his cavalry and infantry towards his allies there. And over there you'll see that Royer there with his Gaulish army is running up that sheer hill. You can see there he's running up there to form up with his allies on top of the hill. Okay, So you can see there that they've got Pontus, Rome, and they're going to have Gaul up on top of the hill there to defend that that rather steep hill that we would be trying to assault. Okay, and as I say, you can see Gladdenmy there. He may be looking to move his troops up onto the hill as well. As I say, you can see Mantu slowly moving his troops forward there towards the enemy. And I bet when they see him starting to move towards them there, they're really looking forward to the battle, because they're thinking he's probably going to attack them head on, you know, up this hill there. And with all the bonuses they've got, they would probably love that. They'd love Mantu to attack up there. They'd have the cavalry and chariots would smash into him with all the downhill bonuses, and their infantry as well. So as I say, they would love for him to attack. But there you are, you can see there that the enemy now have got their cavalry and chariots up on the hill there, and the infantry as well. So as I say, just look how steep the hill is, and can imagine the downhill bonuses that the enemy team would have if when we assaulted the hill at that particular area, they could just charge straight down into us there. Okay, so there's the SBQR army there of Gladdenmy, as you can see, and he is moving over towards Scorpion King there. Can you see, instead of moving right towards his allies to get on top of the hill with his allies, he looks to me like he's moving his troops across that valley. Can you see that? He looks like he's heading towards Scorpion King across the valley. Now that is an unusual thing for this army in this particular part of the battlefield to do. When we've played on this map before, they've always gone up to join their allies, but you can see there that he looks like he's going to run across the valley there to try and get to Scorpion King's army, and before Scorpion King can get to his allies. Okay, but as I say, up on top of the hill here, you'll see the enemy troops are forming up, and it'll be interesting to see how they actually set up on top of that hill. Right, now here you can see, I remember saying to the rest of the team, come on, let's attack up through the woods here. And you'll see Mantu change the trajectory of his army there. Instead of going up the hill as he looks like he's going to there, you'll see all of a sudden he'll change his army to go left and head into the woods with my troops. There you are. Can you see Mantu now? You can see my green Brutii troops are heading into the woods, and he's now moving his blue Scipii army over to join my army in the woods there. Okay, so as I explained earlier, there are good you know, good reasons for heading up through the woods here to attack the hill. And there you are, you can see the Germanic troops there heading over into the woods as well. Now remember that the Germanic troops are barbarian troops, so they will get the woods bonus as well. So that makes sense for the Germanic troops to come up into the woods and join both Mantu and myself in assaulting the hill up through the woods there. Okay, so as I say, you can see my green Brutii troops heading up there, and you can see Mantu's blue Scipii army coming over to join me, as I say, assaulting the hill up through the woods there. Okay, you can see that light infantry there. As I say, as we thought earlier, we talked about it earlier, they're probably going to be the pilot shields for the this Julia army there. You've got the chosen swordsman there now, and you've got those Pontus pikes. Be interesting to see how the Pontus pikes are set up across the hill. I'm guessing Barclayman may well set lines of pikes across the hill there, so that he's kind of protecting the hill from one flank to the other with his pikemen. That's possibly what they're going to do. Let's pause the game for a second here. Okay, so you've got Scorpion King's cavalry has now joined us as well. Okay, and he may well look to go over to the woods, or he may well stay on this flank to threaten the flank of the enemy troops here. And there you can see his infantry is moving towards the enemy as well. Meanwhile, you can see the SBQR infantry and cavalry are just running over onto where Scorpion King actually was during the setup stage. So you can see that Scorpion King has got to his allies here nearly, well, he's got his cavalry to his allies, and his infantry will be joining soon, while the SBQR guy is a long way away from his allies. Okay, but as I say, here you can see the enemy setting up in a defensive formation on top of the hill. Let's just pause the game for a second here. So you can see you've got chariots over there on their right flank to attack our troops in the flank if we attack there. But remember, chariots don't do very good in the woods. And as I say, here you can see the pikes there and the chosen swordsmen set up there, and the Julii infantry there as well, right on the edge of the woods there, as you can see. So they've set up there, and they got that maximum upgraded cavalry behind their troops right on top of the hill there. So they're going to have a good downhill charge bonus there when they when or if they decide to attack. And there you can see how the enemy have set up there on top of the hill. As I say, it wouldn't surprise me if Pontus moved more pikes across the hill there to help defend it a little bit better. But today where you can see my infantry, my Brutii, green Brutii infantry, and Mantu's blue Scipii infantry in the woods, and the Germanic troops will be joining us pretty soon there. And don't forget, as I said, the barbarian troops, the Germanic barbarian troops, will have a woods bonus there. And as I say, here you can see us moving across here. So even though we're coming up through the woods, we're going to have to really think about tactics here. Remember, when you assault a hill, your tactics and strategy has got to be spot on, because with all the bonuses that the enemy troops have got on top of that hill, if you make a mistake while you're attacking, that compounds the the problem that you've got in attacking. Now this area here looks the weak area to me. Okay, and I remember in this battle thinking that. And if Mantu maybe attacks straight up the middle to hold and pin them, I could possibly come round the flank, okay? So already I'm trying to think tactically here on how we're going to attack this hill. And as I say, it wouldn't surprise me if Pontus moved a few more pikes onto the other flank there, okay? But they are in quite a strong position there if you look at the way they formed up across the hill. Okay, so they are, as I say, in quite a strong position. Scorpion King's infantry is just making his way over. I think he's walked a lot of the way there so his troops won't be tired. And as I say, the enemy SBQR troops, both cavalry and infantry, are just moving up into that area there, a long way away from their allies. Okay, but we still have to keep an eye on them because they're coming up behind us. So we'll keep one eye on them and one eye on what we're doing up on top of the hill here. Okay, there you are. You can see the Pontus general there, Barclayman, bringing some more pikes, more central on the hill there, as possibly he can see the threat that might happen on the other flank. Okay, so as I say, that is a strong defensive position there, and we've got to try and look at the weakest part of that defensive formation there for us to try and hit. Now you can see here that Sultan's, pause the game for a second, Sultan's Germanic infantry has come over to this left flank of ours, okay, and this is where I'm looking to move my infantry over to this left flank, and maybe our Germanic ally and myself could possibly try a left flanking attack here on the hill. If you notice, as I say, the left flank here, or the right flank of the enemy, if you like, is not that well defended. Do you see what I mean? If you look there, and so that might be a place for us to attack. Now, what I think Mantu's going to do is to try and go right up the middle there with his blue Scipii army. Okay, he's going to get close to the enemy troops there, throw a lot of pilers into them, and kind of hold and pin them there in the center there. You can see his troops already moving forward there. You can see Royer there moving his chosen swordsman back a little bit there. Obviously Mantu would have loved to have got close to them and thrown loads of pilers into them to cause them a lot of casualties before we even get into hand-to-hand fighting, but Royer saw that and backed his chosen swordsman off there, which was a good tactical move. And you've got that light Roman infantry in front of their main battle line there, and you've got a chosen swordsman unit in open order to soak up our pilers as well. But you'll notice with my green Brutii army, I'm moving over to this flank. Okay, now can you see what I mean about this being a weak spot of the enemy team? They've only got 2 pike units on this flank guarding it. Okay, can you see that? And that's what I'm thinking about doing, is getting close to them, throwing loads of pilers in to weaken those units, and then possibly surge attacking through those 2 units to come up the flank there, backed up by my Germanic army. I'm just giving you a heads up on what I'm thinking here. But this, as you can see, this flank here, to me, looks a little bit weak. Okay? And there you can see Mantu moving forward once again, look, into pilot range. So he'll be throwing loads of pilots into those light Roman troops there, and that one open order chosen swordsman. And the enemy, of course, will be throwing pilots into his units as well. So, as I say, with him moving his army forward like that, he's got the enemy eye concentrating on his blue Scipii army, I think, there. And you can see there's a heck of a lot of enemy resources there, including that fully upgraded cavalry getting ready to charge into his infantry there, which he needs to be careful about. But remember, if you notice here, can you see the Pontus pikes are down? Now, remember, if friendly cavalry charge through friendly pikes or spears, when those pikes or spears are down, then they will lose a lot of cavalry on their own pike and spearmen. So the Red Julii general there needs to be very aware and communicate with his ally there if he's going to charge his cavalry forward. Because, as I say, he doesn't want to lose his cavalry on friendly pikes. Right, can you see the chosen swordsman? Royer now has retreated his chosen swordsman a little bit more central on the hill. But this flank here, can you still see only 2 Pontus pike units there on this flank? And that's what's drawing me to want to attack on this flank here. Okay, so you must, when you attack in the hill, as I say, attacking the hill on Rome Total War should be your last resort. You should try and get the enemy to come down to you if you can. But when you attack, you need to look for like the weak spots of their defensive position on the hill. Right, so as I say here, you can see me running forward. Now what I'm looking to do is to throw loads of pilots into these 2 pike units, really weaken them, and then surge attack through them with my Germanic ally there, and come round the flank and start attacking the hill from that flank. Okay, so just to give you a heads up on that. So that's what I'm planning on doing there. You can see here that the Julii general, the GoTW, Beatch, is now attacking downhill there with his infantry into Mantu's blue Scipii troops there. Okay, meanwhile on the other flank you'll see that Scorpion King has got his cavalry and those velets there that can throw those spears that they carry into the chariots of the enemy troops there, causing them casualties. I think those velets are anti-elephant and anti-chariot, if I remember correctly. I haven't used those in years. I'm only just trying to remember that. But meanwhile, the enemy SBQR troops are here. Look, you can see they're tired. They're on top that slope. Now, whether they're going to look to come into the rear of us as we attack, we'll just have to wait and see. Okay, that may be what he's thinking there. But at the moment, as you can see, we're being very aggressive in trying to assault this hill here. And you can see here that my Brutii infantry has now moved into range of those 2 pike units there. So make no mistake now, I will be throwing loads of pilers into those pike units. Now remember, those pike units are 121 man units, okay? So we just have to see how much pilot damage I do to them before I attack. Pause again for a second here. So as I say here, my guys will be throwing loads of pilers in there. As you can see they're already pulling their pilers out, ready to throw. Others are already throwing their pilers in there. You can see those pilers throwing in there. And there you are, it's 121 man units already been reduced. And over here, as I say, you can see the Scipii infantry throwing pilers as well. Lots of pilot exchanging going on here. And as I say, those pikes of Pontus are down. Okay, so if the Julii general wants to charge his fully upgraded cavalry into the enemy Scipii troops there, he's got to communicate with his Pontus ally. Tell him to put those pikes up before he charges his cavalry. Otherwise he's going to lose his cavalry on friendly pikes. Okay, but here, as I say, I am absolutely raining pilers onto these 2 pike units, and I'm getting ready to surge attack through. Right, okay, so I just talked to you about the Julii general needed to communicate with his pike ally there. You won't believe it, the Julii general's just lost his cavalry general on friendly Pontus pikes. Okay, so Beatch there charges cavalry through the pikes. See those pikes, they're down. The Pontus pikes are down. Obviously they didn't communicate to each other, and the Julii general has just been lost on friendly pikes there. Okay, so as I say, it's very, very important that when you're going to charge cavalry through your allies' pike or spear units, you need to communicate with each other to make sure those pikes and spears are up before you charge through. And as I say, the Julii general has just been lost on friendly Pontus pikes. So, you know, it's just one of those things that happen now and again. All of us have done it on RTW, but I just thought you might find that interesting. As I say, communication in battle is extremely important in lots of different ways, but there you could just see that was very, very important there, because the Julii general has just been lost. So they've lost the general morale bonus. Right. Okay, so I think I've thrown enough pilots into these two pike units here. You can say 121 man units. You can see that's reduced to 34 men, I think, and the other one, if I remember correctly, down to 38 men. So I'm thinking now that a surge attack with my infantry would break through those two pike units, and then my Germanic ally could come around the flank here, and we could really concentrate on attacking here on our left flank onto the enemy troops. Now over here, I'd just like to show you that you've got Scorpion King and Mantu's cavalry, plus those Velites fighting that chariot unit there. Plus you got Scorpion King's green Brutii infantry there as well. Now what I'm thinking is, if this force here could come up on this flank, imagine that. So we're attacking the hill on both flanks, from this flank and the other flank. So this is going to be a real conundrum, if you like, for the enemy. Where do they put their resources? How do they spread their resources out to cover both flanks? Okay, so as I say, attacking a hill is very, very difficult, but if you're tactical and strategic, it definitely is possible. Okay, so watch my green Brutii infantry. I'm going to surge attack through those two damaged pike units there. Right, so if you just watch that, and you can see my Germanic ally coming up round the flank as well. Okay, so he's going to come round the flank there to attack. He's going to come up there. Watch my Brutii infantry charge through those two battle damaged pikes that are going to rout on impact. There you go, those two Pontus pike units have just routed on impact there. So now my green Brutii infantry, I'm going to charge up from this flank, and you can see my Germanic ally charging up there as well. Okay, so basically we've broken the enemy's right flank here. Okay, we've broken the enemy's right flank, and we're now going to attack. Okay, now can you see all these cavalry here? I think, if I'm not mistaken, they were killed on friendly pikes there. I think, can you see the Pontus pikes are still down? And unfortunately, I think the Julii general charged his cavalry through his allies' pikes when they were down, and he's lost all that cavalry there just on charging through friendly pikes. So it's kind of sad to see that, but don't get me wrong, all of us have done that for some time, sometime on Rome Total War, so we've all done it. And these pikemen, look, there you can see more cavalry, but those pikemen there in front of the cavalry had their pikes up. Did you see that? They were. Their pikes are up, look. But the other pikes were down, and that's what caused the casualties there. Okay, but so you can see that Julii cavalry has charged into Mantu's infantry there with a downhill charge bonus. But over here on the other flank, you'll see that Mantu and Scorpion King have got their cavalry up on top the hill there. So as I say, they can now swoop down with their cavalry and smash into the flank and rear of the enemy troops there, while we come up on the other flank there, my Germanic ally and my Brutii infantry there. And there's a Berserker unit has just been activated here on this flank. Okay, now you'll see the chosen swordsman of Gaul. Okay, if we just as the Germanic troops hit them there, we just pause the game for a second. Can you see here the chosen swordsman? If you look at the writing, can you see taunting? That means that warriors just hit the war cry button. Okay, now the war cry button enhances their attack specifications. So he's going to hit the war cry button, and then I think he's going to charge down the hill there into that Germanic infantry. Okay, watch the surge of those. There you are, the chosen swordsmen. Now look at them surge in to the Germanic troops. You can see my green Brutii troops. I'm going to surge forward Now look, what I'm looking to do here is to get a mass rout. The Sultan and myself, we'd like to start a mass rout here. Can you see that fully upgraded Julii cavalry? There's a chariot unit coming in behind me as well. Right, so you can see the enemy are really charging into my Germanic ally and myself there. There's a chariot unit going to smash in behind, but what I'm looking to do here is to charge my cavalry in to smash into them. There's a chariot unit there that's blocking our allies' cavalry, but you can see Scorpion King's got his infantry. He's moved his infantry up onto that flank as well. So we're attacking the enemy team here from both flanks on top the hill. Okay, you can see that. But here you can see that chariot unit. As I say, what I'm looking to do is to hammer home the green surge attack of my infantry. Okay, but you can see that chariot unit going to smash into the back of my infantry and bang as it smashes in there. Okay, watch my cavalry. I'm now going to hammer home the attack, and the Germanic cavalry going to charge in as well. See my Brutii cavalry charge in there, like bang. See the Germanic cavalry going to charge in as well, bang as it smashes in there. Make no mistake, we're after a mass rout here. And you can see a lot of the chosen swordsmen there have now mass routed. Right, pause the game for a second. So the combination charge of the Germanic troops and my Brutii troops there, plus the berserkers. You can see Mantu charging right up the centre here into those Julii infantry there. We have started a mass rout, and it wouldn't surprise me if all the enemy are mass routed. You can see Mantu and Scorpion King that were on the other flank have now charged their cavalry in as well. They're charging the cavalry, smashing in from the other flank as well, and it looks to me like we're going to get a mass rout going on top of the hill there. Okay, so as I say, that weak flank we took advantage of, and we've charged in there. You can see the Brutii cavalry here of Scorpion King gonna smash in there, look at him, bang, as he smashes in there with his cavalry. And look how we're all surging forward. Mantu's blue Scipio army, the Germanic army of Sultan, and my green Brutii army, we're all surging forward. Our cavalry have smashed into them as well. Oh my gosh, and we've managed to get a mass rout on top of the hill there. Okay, so amazing really, wasn't it, when you saw the odds that we were up against there. And there, this is what I want to show you as well. Can you see that Mantu's 3 eagle units we looked at earlier? Do you notice how he kept them out the fighting, but kept them close enough to his infantry to be given 3 extra morale bonuses to his fighting infantry there? Nice move there by Mantu, keeping them out of the fight, but keeping them close enough to give the morale bonus to his fighting troops. And as I say here, you can see we have now cleared the enemy off the hill. Now their SBQ ally has decided to come off of the high ground that he could have fought on there. I mean, because look, that's quite a high hill there, isn't it? But he's decided to charge his SBQR troops forward there. And it looks to me like he may well try and charge uphill against us now as we've captured the hill. We just have to wait and see. As I say, that Gladdenmy, I can't remember him being in a battle that I've been in before, so I'm not sure of how long he's been playing Rome Total War or anything like that at all. But here, as I say, you can see we've captured there, and as I say, that group of cavalry there, I've got a feeling, unfortunately, they got killed on friendly pikes as they charge forward. I think maybe they might got hit by enemy pilers there, but I'm not really sure. But I think it was the friendly pikes that killed them there as they charged forward. But it's a bit sad to see that, isn't it, if it was that. But as I say, we've all done that sometimes. But there you are, you can see there that we've now completely captured the hill, killed all the enemy troops that were on top of the hill there. That's the Pontus general just been taken out. So and now we're just going to charge downhill into the enemy SBQR troops there. You can see Scorpion King green Brutii troops moving forward there, and you can see the enemy SBQR troops. If you notice here, they're actually running uphill. So look at the downhill advantage that we've got now. After fighting up through that hill against all the advantages that they had on top of the hill, and now we're managing to charge down. This Amok chariot here could be a nuisance into Scorpion King's infantry. You watch that Amok chariot there charging in to that into poor Scorpion King's infantry. You watch that amok chariot. They seem to be stronger in amok mode than they do in normal mode, which always seemed a bit funny to me, a bit strange to me. Watch the last chariot get taken out there. There you are. So that amok chariot now has been wiped out, and you can see now Scorpion King and Mantu and Sultan all charging their troops downhill into the enemy SBQR troops there. Okay, look at the downhill bonus that we've got now. we've taken advantage of capturing the hill now for our own benefit and charging down into those SBQR troops. So well done to Scorpion King, Mantu and Sultan there, charging down there into the enemy troop. You'll see that I'm just sitting on top of the hill here. My allies don't need me to help attack the SBQR troops, so just let them get on. They'll get some good kills, I would think, as well down there. The only thing that does worry me is this amok chariot. I don't want it to start chopping down my cavalry, thank you very much. So I may well move my infantry and cavalry down the hill away from that amok chariot. Although if I remember correctly, I think some berserkers do attack that amok chariot a bit later on. But here, as I say, you can see there that my allies, with the downhill bonus that we have now got, are kind of destroying the SBQR army. And here you can see a couple of Sultan's berserker units, well, all three of the berserker units there are trying to chase down that amok chariot. Remember, once the berserkers go berserk, they actually chase the nearest enemy unit, whether it's routing or whether it's not. So you can see there that chariot Pontus unit there is attracting these three berserkers to actually chase him down there. So there you go, you can see that's what the berserker units are doing. And over here, I think that's the SBQR general has just been taken out. There, let's pause the game for a second here. So there you are. So all our troops now have basically charged down there, except for my army. But this was a tough hill to take on. But as I say, we spotted this weak flank here, and this is what we hit. We took advantage of that. And did you notice once we attacked, we didn't hold back at all. We just surged forward with everything we had there in a massive uphill attack. As I say, you can see Mantu was charging up through the centre there, holding and pinning them, while Sultan and myself came round this flank and attacked there. And bearing in mind all the bonuses that the enemy team had on top of that hill, for us to be able to capture the hill was I thought pretty amazing, really. I host on this map from time to time just to give Team 1 a challenge, and I got to be honest with you, most times we don't capture this hill because it's so well defended there. And over here you can see Scorpion King with Mantu's cavalry come around that flank and attacked. So well done to them. And as I say, we'll go up to double speed here as the last of the SBQR enemy troops have just been taken out there. So anyway, I just thought that was a good example on how to assault a hill. First thing I'd like to say is really well played to everybody in the game. I thought everybody played well there. And to get a clear victory, to attack a massive hill like this, I think was pretty good for our team there. So, and the highest kills in the game goes to Brotherhood member Sultan with his Germanic army, 1,700 kills there. So well done to Sultan with his Germanic army there coming up through the woods. There's Gladdenmy there. He'll be a bit disappointed he got less than 1,000 kills, I'm sure. There, he'll probably be a bit disappointed. A Royer, he'll be disappointed he got less than 1,000 kills as well. A Barclayman, he'll be a bit disappointed he got less than 1,000 kills, and so will GoTW Beatch. We always aim for at least 1,000 kills. If we get less than 1,000 kills, we're usually a bit disappointed. My kills, not too bad kills, really. And if you look at the men that I've got left from the original army, I think I've lost about 280 men in the whole battle. That's all I've lost. But is it about 280, something like that? That's about all I've lost there in the whole battle. So you can see I've still got a lot of my troops left. Well done to Scorpion King. He might be a bit disappointed he got less than 1,000 kills, but he did well. Well done to Mantu. Look at the kills that Mantu got there. Really great kills as well. Sultan and Mantu, really good kills between them there. So really well done to them there. And as I say, I host on this map from time to time just to give Team 1 a bit of a challenge. Scorpion King is usually with me when I host on this map, and to be completely honest with you, in most cases we don't take this hill. It's so much of a challenge to take this hill, and to take this hill in this battle for a clear victory was, you know, really, really amazing, really, for us. So there you are, you can see there, attacking the hill. As I say, I will always say to you, it's the last resort. Try and get the enemy team to come down the hill if you can. But if you have to attack, I thought that was a good example of how you do attack. The Spartan Commander saying bye for now. See you soon.